again. I am Rena. It is Saturday, which means it is a great day for sharing. Let me see if I can get our next guest on. Bear with me. All right. I'm so happy to be back here with you all. We had an epic summer and now we're getting back to normal. Yay, there you are.
I did it.
I think that was like the fastest connection I've ever had. You did it.
I did it.
I'm so proud of you. Hi, Erin.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Everybody, this is my longtime friend, Erin. I feel like we met each other when we were 20.
Yeah, something like
Something like that. I'm so happy you're here with me. I know this isn't something you would normally do, and you are on here for me, and I appreciate it.
No worries.
So how it works, as I've mentioned, is basically an opportunity for you to share your story and what you have gone through to get those two beautiful babies of yours. Just start off with telling us a little bit about yourself, your background, and then whatever part of your story you want to share with us. I always say just start from the beginning and we'll see where we go. Everything is unscripted, obviously. And I'm just so happy to see you. I want to just sit and catch up.
I haven't seen you in real life in a long time.
Well, yeah, there was this thing called a pandemic. And with us living in different countries, it's a little hard. But you're on my hit list. We will see you soon. I promise. I can't wait to snug.
Okay. So I'm Erin. I'm going to be 40 this year.
Yay.
Yeah. What's my background? I was born and raised in Hamilton. Still live in Hamilton. Live like 5 minutes away from my parents. Hi, Mom, if you're...
Hi, Mom. Nana D.
I think I just saw her join. Still live very close to home. Never really went very far. Well, I went to Toronto. That's where I met you. And then back home. And met my husband years ago when one of my friends dated one of his friends. Mm-hmm. It had nothing to do with him. And then he won me over in the end. And then we got married and we have our 2 kids.
Awesome. Now, I know it wasn't easy to get your boys. So start from the beginning of like trying, what happened, what didn't happen, what worked, what didn't work.
Yeah, so we tried, the good old fashioned way for probably, I want to say like a year or so after we got married. I wasn't getting any younger. I was 33 when I got married, 34. They tell you after 6 months, you should probably seek out some help. And, but that's an awkward conversation to have, I think, with your doctor, or I guess maybe even like admit that, hi, can I please, have some help. So then, we finally did that after it was probably closer to a year. Off to One Fertility, where you're familiar with, in Burlington. Actually, I got recommended to a different fertility clinic, and I remember asking you about the other one in Hamilton, and you said, nope, go to
One Fertility. I forgot that you went there.
Mm-hmm.
How did I forget that? We went to the same clinic.
Yeah, we did. So then off to One Fertility, and then, you go through all the tests that are, not that fun, but you do it, and all for them to tell you that they have no idea why it's not happening. It should be happening. Everything is working properly. Everything is fine. And basically a big question mark as to why it's not working. So, we basically we started with IUI, obviously, with Clomid. And it was round 2. And I was pregnant with my oldest, who is coming in with a popsicle for me to
We're live. Anything can happen. It's all good.
Hold on. Okay.
Hey, bud.
Hi.
Hi. Oh my gosh, he's big and tall now.
Anyway, it was round 2. So the first round obviously didn't work. A little discouraging because they basically tell you up front that 3 rounds and you're done. At my age, they wouldn't go forward with a 4th. So in the first round, you think, okay, this is going to work for sure, and it doesn't. It's a little upsetting, but then yeah. So round 2 of the IUI worked great. I had a great pregnancy. Never got sick, never anything, and the only problem I had was placenta previa, so I had to have a scheduled C-section with him. And then a couple years later, we were ready to start again for another one, and that time I didn't even wait. We didn't even really. I mean, we tried, but we didn't try. And then I was just like, forget it. We're just going to go back and do it again. And when I went back, but you have to do all the testing all over again. Did that, same answer. Don't know why. And we just did the same thing. I mean, they don't even. My doctor was telling me when I went back with him, that would have been the end of 2019, is that they don't even really use Clomid anymore. But because it worked for me the first time, they made it. I guess the pharmacist can put it together. They use, is it Femera now, I think?
I'm so out of the loop right now. I'm not sure. And I think meds in Canada and the States are different too. So I have no idea what they're using at One Fertility anymore.
Yeah, so I think they use Femera. I guess they've had better results with it, but because I had done Clomid the first time, they were kind of like, well, we'll just stick with what works, right? So same thing again, round 1 didn't work, and then round 2 did, because we had always said that we wanted at least one, and that we would go the distance to have one. Like if that involved IVF, if that involved, moving on and on and on. But for this, it was kind of like, if it doesn't work in 3 tries, then we'll be happy with one. He'll be an only child. It'll be okay.
Right.
But yeah, so he was another second round. I guess it just takes my body that one extra month to kind of get ready. And then same thing. It was a pretty easy pregnancy. A little older that time, so it hurts your body a little bit more than it did the first go round. But yeah, and then another scheduled C-section, and they're both here, happy, healthy.
Okay, so both of them were second round IUIs. Both of them, pregnancy was totally fine. Both of them were C-sections. Did you have placenta previa? Why can't I talk? Placenta previa with Brooks as well?
No,
just with Liam.
Just with Liam. His was kind of iffy at one point, but then it did move. The only reason their C-section is because I had one previously, and I sort of requested
to do it again.
Yeah, that's like, let's just stick with what you know. So I knew what a C-section entailed, and I was okay with having another one. So yeah, it was another scheduled. I like the scheduling of it.
Scheduling, yes, you do like schedules.
Exactly when he was going to come.
Nice. And then you can plan and have everything ready.
Yeah. And then I could, Liam could go to my parents, and it was, everything kind of fell into line. It's kind of nice. I mean, you've had one. You wake up and, you know it's the day. You're packed. You're ready. Everything's in order. There's no running around. Oh, my water broke. There's none of that. It's very calm, cool, collected, and off you go.
Yes. I mean, everyone has their own experiences. I've done my water broke, oh shit, we gotta go. And I've done the C-section, and I prefer the C-section too. You're right. It's way less stressful.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know. I agree with you.
You have another one, because you could plan for Anson when you went to
what?
You could plan for Anson's care.
100%.
It wasn't 2:00 in the morning and you're trying to call a neighbor to be like, hey, somebody please come kid, right?
Right. You're right. I mean, for all of us planners out there, it was great. So when you guys were trying, obviously, I know, again, we'll speak on Canada because both of us were in Canada at the time for our treatments. They say you go a year trying naturally, and if it doesn't work, then that's when you go and seek some help. Mm-hmm. So you're there, it's not working. When they tell you it's unexplained after you've gone through all the tests, do you remember the tests you went through? Can you talk on the tests, or is it out of your mind right now?
Yeah, like the 1 month of where they monitor your cycle. You're in there every day, every other day. Blood, the good old ultrasounds. Yeah, and then I can't remember the name of that test, but the one where they make sure your tubes are open. I forget.
HCG?
Is that what it's called? The one, yeah, where they shoot the, I don't know if it's...
They put the dye through...
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an HCG, yeah.
Something like that, right? That one that's painful. that test. Obviously, like sampling Kevin, make sure like everything's working on that end, that his sperm is good and mobile and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I think that's about it. Just that 1 month of literally
Hard testing.
being
Okay.
every morning at 7 o'clock or whatever time in the morning, driving all the way to Burlington and then back home, right? And then, going to work all day.
Going to work all day. Yeah, that's how it is. No big deal, Erin. It's
bruised in like all the wrong places because they're taking blood every single day. But yeah.
Yeah, I used to have track marks down my hips. Like from all the, because when, oh yes, everybody, oh my gosh, this just had a full circle. For everyone who has read my book, and in my book, when I tell you I have a friend who is not medical at all, who gave me my first shot because I couldn't do it, everyone, this is Erin. This is Erin's book. Yes, I don't have to explain that to you. You gave me some of my shots, but down my legs.
Yes.
Yeah. Bruises everywhere. Yeah, same thing. So after all of this testing,
yep.
How are you feeling? Like super hopeful? Are you worried they're going to find something? And then you get your result that it's unexplained. What's the feeling before versus once you get the results of all the testing?
I think it was a lot of anxiety leading up to it because back then, I don't know what the timelines are like now, but back then I think I got my referral from the doctor to go to One Fertility, and it probably was like, I want to say it was like 6 or 7 months before we could even have a consultation with them.
Yikes.
So it was like 6 or 7 months of like continuing to try and like not understanding what's going on, but you have this appointment, but it's 6 or 7 months out, all for you to say, this is what's going on. And I think it's the same thing they say to everybody, like, okay, well, we'll go through all the tests and we'll figure it out. And then that takes a month. And then I want to say it was a few months before we could even meet with a doctor. So now it's like from referral to actually getting like a diagnosis, if you will, was probably another year. Before like, and then all that for it to come out and them say, we have no idea we have no idea. Right. So it's kind of a little discouraging when you go through all that thinking like, okay, they're going to say it's this, it's that, they're, they can pinpoint it and don't worry, we can fix it or whatever the case may be. Right. But when you go through all that and it's been, like I said, the better part of a year and then we don't know. So basically we'll try this. And then if that doesn't work, we'll try that. And then if that doesn't work, we'll try something else. And it's kind of, it's, anxiety. And you think like, okay, like I just want a child. I just want a baby. And why is this so difficult? Right. Like I remember in health class, like you're almost taught, like, don't look at a boy because you're going to get pregnant. Right. And then do all this stuff about birth control. And then when you actually want it to happen, it's like, you guys made this sound a whole lot easier than it actually is in real life.
A whole lot easier. Like you nailed it. Don't look at a guy and you'll get pregnant. It's not like that at all.
Not for a lot of us anyways. Like, I mean, I do have friends where it's like that for them. And I was
sure.
Oh, like, okay, well, good for you. But, but then I have like, once you start going through it and I think you start even like opening up to like a close few people, then like it's like, oh well, I know somebody and I know and this person and this person and this person and this person are all going through it. And I just think, like it's not something you talk about, right? Like a lot, right? Like, oh hey, not pregnant again. You just kind of people just announce it when they are, right?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, we're hoping that the conversation, this is why I'm doing this, and this is why we've started talking to more people. And I know you've referred some of your friends to me who have been going through some stuff. I mean, we're one big community. We're trying to make the stigma of not talking about this go away so that we can have more support during it. Now for you, I know you had a few friends, including myself, who had been through the infertility gauntlet or were almost at the tail end of their journey, and you were more at the beginning, I guess I'll say, because I'll speak for myself. Because you were there basically from the beginning to the end of my journey, and you started going on it, and you and Kevin had a chat that, if it doesn't work, then we're good with one, or if it doesn't work, then we're good here. Were you worried or nervous that you would be headed down the gauntlet as well, or you were firm in what you knew you wanted, how you wanted things done? Was there any, because you had a few friends who were going through infertility, I thought.
Yeah, I do have a few friends. Actually, me and one of my close friends kind of were going through it at the exact same time. She was going to the one fertility in Kitchener, so, and I actually think she started her process before me.
Okay.
And I ended up getting pregnant before her. So that was kind of a hard thing for us as friends to sort of be like, it was almost like when I had to tell her I was pregnant with my oldest, like with Liam, it was kind of like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it hasn't worked for you. She actually had filled out all the paperwork for like IVF, and her clinic agreed to do one more IUI, like a fourth, just because the paperwork wasn't going to be done. And because, as you know, IVF is very expensive and not everybody has that kind of cash. So you can finance it. So she was on her way to do that, and they agreed to do a fourth, and she ended up getting pregnant with her son. So our kids are just about 2 months apart. But yeah, like, we knew pretty firmly that for the first one, we would go the distance, and we would probably go as far, like we would have gone as far as IVF. What life looked like after that, if that wouldn't have worked, we never kind of got to those conversations as to how far we would go. I mean, like, the word like adoption was sort of thrown around, but we never really made any firm decisions as to like how far down we would go to have a child. But luckily, we didn't have to
go that far. Yeah.
We would do IVF, but the second one, no, we were very firm that if it didn't happen in the 3 IUIs, that was just meant to be. And I mean, like I said, I was 30, almost 38 when he was born, so time wasn't on my side. So to go through IVF and do the paperwork and, you know what I mean, all that kind of stuff, and in the whole process, it was just kind of like, I think I'm just too old, and we'll be fine with the one. And we'll be happy with that. And we would have totally been happy. And I mean, Brooks is here and he's sleeping downstairs. But yeah, it all worked out.
It all worked out, for sure. So did you guys ever suffer any losses while you were trying or throughout your journey? Or was it just you weren't getting pregnant?
I just wasn't getting pregnant. Yeah. Fortunately, I've never had a loss. Like, knock on. Yeah, no, that's never. Not that I know of, anyways. I mean, right, like, but no, not that I know of.
Wow.
I've had 2 pregnancies and 2 healthy kids.
That's good odds there, Erin.
Yeah.
Really good odds.
No more, though. No more.
No more. So you're done?
Oh, I'm done. Yeah.
Okay.
Permanently, there has been a permanent decision to be done.
Isn't it funny that I've talked about this with other women too, that the yearning for a child from a mom is like animalistic. Like, I was trying to explain it to Uche, and I'm just like, it's within you, and you just know you need it and you want it, and nothing else in life matters than getting pregnant. And then once you've had once you know you're done, you also know you're done. Like I'm good. That feeling inside of you just, I don't know, dissipates.
Yeah. Like, other people, like, I have friends, like one of my friends that reached out to you, she has like he's maybe 10 or 12 weeks now. And then it's like, oh, he's really cute. But it doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, when you're trying to have your kids and you hold someone else's baby, you're like, oh my gosh, my ovaries hurt, kind of thing. Like, I want a kid. Now you're like, no, here you go.
You're like smelling it and snuggling. And like, you're cute. Here you go.
Yeah. You're right. That instinct just kind of like goes away, and you know your family is done, and that's enough.
Nice. Yeah. Now, did you have, I'm going in a completely different topic, because I know when we were going through one fertility, medical insurance wasn't a thing for fertility treatments in Canada. Mm-hmm. I know now, I don't know details, but I know now the government is covering some fertility treatments. Mm-hmm. When you were going through it, did you have any coverage?
No.
You didn't?
No. Nothing.
Even with your, I don't know the correct term, your card, your status? Oh,
I didn't have status until about, like, when I was doing it with Liam, I didn't have that, but I did with Brooks. But now my mom's watching, and she's going to tell my dad that I didn't find out.
Sorry.
That's a good question. I never looked into it. IUI, in the grand scheme of things, is not that expensive. So I like the prescription for Clomid is like $40.
Right.
It's in the grand scheme of things. I think between the two kids and everything we had to do, the trigger shots, the this, the that. We think we maybe paid like 4,500.
Okay.
5,000, something like that, for like both of them. So, I mean,
Both.
yeah.
So jealous, girl.
I mean, it's still money out of your pocket, but it's not. About $4,500 or $5,000, I think, between the two of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So still is not coverage in Canada? Like what's...
So there's coverage for IVF now.
Oh, just IVF. Okay.
Yeah, just IVF, I believe. I mean, someone correct me if I'm wrong. Again, it's been a couple years, but I think it's just IVF. But the government only gives out so many a year. So in Ontario, there's only, I don't even know what the number is. Maybe it's 10,000, maybe it's 20,000, whatever. They only give out a certain amount every year.
Okay.
And I know at one time someone said that it was like almost like a lottery system, and you like applied for this lottery in January, and then maybe if you won, then you got a round of you only get one round paid for. Now I believe they do it sort of on because the friend that just had the baby, she went through IVF, but they would bump you up the list depending on like your age and things like there's reasons that you kind of get moved up the list, but it's still probably, if she would have waited for the government funded round, it would be a year to a year and a half before you could get it, because that wait list is just so big.
It's
so
big.
Most people, again, like she's my age, so time is not on your side to wait a year to a year and a half for a government funded round, and so she just chose to pay.
Okay.
Pocket, but I think it's pretty expensive. I mean, you would. It's pretty expensive.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. But yeah, I think only the procedure itself though is covered. Like I'm not sure if that. I don't think that would cover all the meds. I'm not like I don't really know what it would entail, but there is some funding through the government.
Okay. I was just curious what that looked like, and with you. Sorry, do you want to explain a little bit when we were talking about status so people aren't what we're talking about?
I'm so I have native status here in Canada, so it just means that come from a native bloodline, so we get a few perks, like I don't have to pay the PST portion of the tax, and what else does it get me? It depends on your reserve and stuff like that, but there is benefits to being native. Like if I didn't have dental benefits at work, like they would kick in. If I don't have certain prescription benefits, they would kick in, things like that. But again, they only cover certain things, and for whatever reason, fertility drugs don't appear on anyone's list of covered medication.
I know, right? This needs to change. I think it's changing. Like, definitely things are progressing since I went through it with Anthony. I mean, he's going to be 10 in January, so there's definitely been some changes, but we need more. So my question for you, Erin, my other question, again, talking about you are always and always have been a major support for me. You have, I mean, there's obviously a reason we've been friends for this long. When I was going through what I was going through, again, like, gave me shots. You were there. You were my person. And I know you are a person for a lot of friends. So how do you stay so hopeful and positive and encouraging? And like, I know your personality, you're just very like, Erin doesn't, there's no like shit. It's just like straight arrow. This is how she rolls. This is how it is. And, you're caring, you're loving, but I don't know. Do you think like your personality is what helped us the most when we got further in it? Like, what's your advice for support people? Because I feel like you have been in the supporter role a lot for infertility, and then having to go through it yourself. Like, what can you advise people who are the support, and then what they can take from that if they're going through it themselves?
So when you were going through it, I had no idea because that was long before I even thought about children. I was not married. I was very much single. We were having, we were having fun, and you were trying to get pregnant with Anson. So for when it was you, I just sort of made it up as I went along, and I'm like, okay, if she needs to give me a shot, or she needs me to give her a shot, then I guess that's what I'll do. I have no idea what I'm doing, but we can figure this out. It can't be that hard.
You did good. It was a good shot.
And then as I went into like my own journey, like I did reach out to you because I knew that you had, been through it, and that kind of thing. And then, like I said, I had a friend that was going through it at the exact same time. So that was kind of nice to reach out to be with someone and, and compare like, okay, what was your number at today? And, oh, did you go to the clinic this morning? Yeah. How's your uterine lining doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like these weird conversations that like most people are like, why are you guys asking each other these things?
Right.
And to compare with her as to like, okay, well, it's day whatever, this is what's going on with me. Okay, well, this is where I was on that day. So that was like a nice piece to have that person going through it, like I said, at the exact same time as me. And then I guess after like I had Liam, then anybody who kind of came to me and said, listen, like, you've gone through it, because I was very open about it. Like I was never, I never hid it. I never said like, oh yeah, like surprise, like we got pregnant. It was very much like he was very much planned, and most close people in my life knew that we were actively going to the clinic and things like that. So then I think like going forward after that, when people were going through it, then they would, ask me all these questions, and I don't know, I just tried to say like, I know it's going to sound really cliche, but like you just got to have faith that if it's gonna work, it's gonna work. Like I can't, my situation is different than your situation, then it's different than someone else's situation. But yeah, like you just have to have faith that the doctors at the clinics, they know what they're doing, and if they tell you to do XYZ, then you do XYZ, and you're gonna, all you can do is hope for the best, and hopefully you don't have to get to the point of them saying it's never going to happen. But they're pretty optimistic at those places. So I feel like they really do exhaust every option. I mean, I can't say enough good things about One Fertility and how they treated me. I know in your book you talk about a terrible experience you had early on, but One Fertility, they really do. And I feel like they care, like they remembered you and things like that. So I recommend them to everybody. But yeah, it's just, you just kind of, I know, like I said, it sounds cliche, but you just got to stay hopeful. And if you get down in the whole situation, then you're not gonna. And I remember, I think actually it was you that said you can't stop living your life while this is all going on, because I gave that advice to some people, because when you have the IUI, they say like, okay, well, act like you're pregnant because you could be, and then you kind of sit and think about it, and you're like, okay, well, like most people don't do what we do. Like most people don't know the actual minute that you may be pregnant, right? Like most people don't do that. And I remember you said, don't stop living your life every month. You're missing out. If you go through this for like a year, you're missing out on half of the year, like, hoping and wishing and, not doing anything that could affect the baby, like for those 2 weeks every month. Right. And then you get your period, or you get the negative test, or whatever happens. And then, you didn't do anything in those 2 weeks because you're so nervous. And I remember you telling me that, like, don't stop living your life until you get that positive test, because you're going to miss out on half of your life.
That's really great advice I gave you.
Yeah.
So I think where that comes from is because I did do that.
Yeah.
I, for a very long time, did everything by the book, exactly to it, crossed all my T's, dotted all my I's, and I did miss out on a lot. And it got to the point where I was just frustrated because we had been trying for so long that I'm like, I'm missing out. And it's just like what you said. Nobody knows the exact, like in the real world, nobody knows the exact second they conceive, like how you do if you're with a fertility clinic.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's actually great advice to bring full circle. That yes, you're in it, but I think if you keep yourself in it and act like you're pregnant even when you're not pregnant, and you lose out on a lot, it also tunnel visions you into the pregnancy, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
all you're thinking about is the pregnancy. Oh, I just felt that. Shoot, is this okay, or is this how I'm supposed to feel? Like, you almost obsess over it.
Yeah.
So I was like saying that, I think because I did become obsessive at some point, going through it, I would never say I was. Now looking back, yeah, there was a lot going on.
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
so I think that's really good advice for you to share that I shared to you. Look at us go. So, do you have any? We'll wrap it up here. First of all, again, thank you for joining me, Erin. I know this is not your thing, and for everyone out there, Erin's response when I asked if she'd be interested to join was, "Well, do I have to talk?" So the fact that I have been able to be on this call with you for half an hour, props to you, hun. I thank you so much. I'm so proud of you. I love your beautiful family and you, obviously. Are there any last takeaways that you want to offer any women, men, couples who are going through it, just starting through it, or who are in that supporting role like how you were for so long?
Yeah, you just got to keep the faith. Unfortunately, like, again, sounds really cliche, but I mean, it's really out of your hands at a lot of points, right? Like, you're not in control. A doctor is in control. And yeah, you just have to pray to God that they know what they're doing. And if it's right, it's right. And yeah, and I got to thank you because you have actually talked to some of my people that I sent your way, and been a great support for them as well, because the one went through the IVF, and I basically said, I can't help you there, but Rena will. So, and I appreciate that.
Well, and I'm glad you did that too. I think that's important. If you have a friend or a family member or someone you know who's going through it and you don't know how to help, it's okay to say that. And that's what I like about you. I mentioned you and Carla in my book because both of you are very straight, open, and honest, and are like, look, I'm here for you, but I might not know how to do this. Try this, and I'll help you through that too. So, yeah, we've created a good community amongst our friends, and I'm always happy to help anyone or talk people through their journey. I know that your friend, since she's got in touch with me, her and I still keep in touch with each other, and it's nice to see how things progress. So, Erin, again, thank you so much for your time. I can't thank you enough because I know this is not your jam. So I appreciate you. You have helped a lot of people today. And everyone, love on those babies. If you have them already, if you don't, keep trying. As Erin says, keep faith, never give up, and always make sure you have support around you, whether it's a support person like Erin who will give you your shots.
If anyone's in Hamilton, I give a really good shot.
Yeah, if anyone's in Hamilton, Canada, Erin is available to give IVF shots. She's really good.
Yeah.
Yes. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks.
And, we'll be in touch soon, all right?
Bye. Thank you.